Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of the Total BS Show. I am Alex Kowalkowski with Prime Media Consulting and the Total BS Show. And I am excited this week because I have one of my friends that I've known for freaking 15 years join us. His name is Nadil Gjeka from Thryv. And we're going to kind of dive into who he is, how he got kind of connected with Thryv, his story, what Thryv is, and
how we met.
I don't know.
How I know you.
How you know me? Yeah, that's a good conversation. And just kind of like business talk in general. So this show is for the small business owner. We're going to discuss the pitfalls, the struggles, the journeys. What do we see as two salespeople selling different services, but kind of the same in some regards, out there in the Chicagoland area and across the country, because Thryv and Prime Media is a nationwide company. And just kind of your questions. So if you do have questions, though, feel free to reach out, and we can try and answer them as quickly as we can as well. But thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on the show.
I know you're
I'm excited, avid watcher.
Yeah, you're an avid watcher. You always critique me, which is great. I appreciate that. And then I'm rocking today a Pace Insurance and Financial Services hat. I was blessed this week flying into Chicago from California these last couple days, and some friends and some clients of mine said, "Hey, here is some swag." So I said, "You know what? If you're going to give me the swag, I'm going to promote you." So Pace Insurance and Financial Services, they're an insurance. Phil Pace, yep.
Mutual friend of ours, yes, by the way, too.
Absolutely. Hey, he's an insurance agent serving all 50 states in regards to your home insurance, auto insurance. You want to buy a boat, he can insure that. You want to buy a spaceship with SpaceX, I'm sure they can probably figure that stuff out too. But today we have Nadil, and thank you for coming. So tell us a little bit about your history. Like, what were you doing before you went to Thryv?
You want to go way back?
Way back. Absolutely.
A little bit. All right, we won't go as way back, but we'll start college years.
Okay.
All right, we'll go there. Well, high school. We'll go back to high school. Sorry.
How about we just go to third grade and
You
just
know
start
what?
for third grade?
Hold on.
You know, my third grade teacher said I would be someone.
So, okay, in high school, back when the computer stuff started first coming out, I was super into computers.
Yeah.
So I knew like right away I wanted to get into computers. Mm-hmm. And at that time, IT was super big, you know. So I went straight into IT, went to college for IT, graduated in IT, Business Information Systems was my degree. Mm-hmm. But when I got into the actual field, I found it was a little boring.
You gotta have a certain.
No offense to any IT people.
You gotta have a
there,
certain temperament.
But I'm sure they could pretty much agree with me.
It's pretty monotonous.
It gets pretty boring.
Yeah.
A lot of questions of
why's my computer got a virus?
A lot of that. But I found myself to be more kind of a people person. So I wanted to speak to more people. Mm-hmm. So I did work IT for a little bit, but then kind of went into sales after that. I was in the mortgage industry for a while. Mm-hmm. Back in, I'm going to age myself a little bit, 2008, in the mortgage industry when things kind of crashed. Mm-hmm. So when things crashed, I got a call. Well, things crashed. I was working for Countrywide Home Loans. They were one of the largest mortgage lenders in the country. But they went bankrupt, and I was let go, obviously. And then I went on the job market, and I was approached by R.H. Donnelly.
R.H. Donnelly,
you
man,
guys
I've heard
know
that
those guys.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, R.H. Donnelly was a nationwide company that did the phone books, and they were the originator of the phone book company back in 1886. That's where we met. Is that we both were young. I was younger. And
You were younger.
I was younger.
No facial hair.
I wasn't allowed facial hair at that time. It was like they said it was like working for the Yankees. You couldn't have facial hair. I'm like, you guys are the Yankees. But anyways, so we both worked on the phone teams together at R.H. Donnelly, and so R.H. Donnelly was the phone book company, and they were dabbling at that time. They're getting into digital media in 2008, 2009. And it was hard times because it was the Great Recession, and so what was interesting
start a new job and start a new industry for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, but luckily you were there.
Absolutely, I'm the hero of your life. But what was interesting about that was we got to learn what it's like for a small business owner dealing with the Great Recession, and the pain, the heartache of having it all, losing it all, and that didn't even equate for the small business owner as much as it would be to a B2B company that deals with the small business owner being successful. So if the small business owner is successful, that company hopefully can become successful as the B2B entity as well. Right. But when a Great Recession happens or a downturn like a pandemic, the small business owner feels the immediate pinch and as the one-off, right, for their individual business. But the marketing company gets hit by like 1,000 cuts because it's all the different businesses that are feeling, because that's how it feeds the B2B industry. And so it was very unique for us as entry level salespeople, right, going in during the Great Recession, because we dealt with only upside. We had people that weren't spending a lot of money. We grew their business, we grew their book of business, so everyone was feeling that greatness in regards to the incremental growth. And we had other individuals who probably were around for a very, very long time, salespeople, right? Who were used to having big ads and all that type of stuff, and they saw the big hit down. We only saw upside. So right. Thank goodness for us, we got to kind of feel what it's like to grow in a Great Recession. And it's interesting now because we're going through the pandemic and it's kind of feeling the same thing. Yeah. So we have that experience of what it's like when B2B industries get hit by an outside source like a pandemic or a recession, and we know kind of how to do things, how to squirrel away money and all that type of stuff and save. But what was interesting is that our natural growth in the company. So I got promoted, then you got promoted. I got promoted, then you got promoted, and it was really.
How come it was you first?
Because I'm better than you. No, but really, it was the idea of. The competition between salespeople. It kind of breeds an environment of trying to outperform the other, just like sports, right? You're in basketball, you want to be the best basketball.
That follows overall, like who you surround yourself with,
right?
So I think that plays a factor too. But yeah, you're right about who you have around you and who you're talking to and whatnot.
Because with us, it was, we always tried to have a very competitive environment. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm not really competitive in regards to the sports environment. I play baseball, which is like the easiest sport to play when it comes to sitting for hours and then throwing a ball and swinging a bat. And then you run like 90 feet, and then that's pretty much all you do. But in sales, I became very competitive. It was, I need to win, I need to outperform, and they always had a ranking report to show you where you are against your peers, right? And so for me, it was very competitive. Can you tell me a little bit about, in sales, what you've learned about an internal sales team and how you kind of navigate keeping what you do successful to yourself versus how much I share with the with the other people on your team?
Mm-hmm. Well, I always found, especially when we work together and even till today, I felt sharing what you're doing that's successful always helpful. So I never found a time where I was like, oh, I should have never told him that, or he's doing better because of that. I always found a upside, and I feel like there are people that do, I'm not going to say anything, this is my secret. I always found that those people aren't as successful because they're just holding on to that one thing and they're not learning others by being with others. And I always found, even especially me and you, but also we went out in groups and we always shared how the goods, the bads, and everything else, and we all helped each other kind of grow from there. And I find that those that did that are not only successful, but in the industry a lot longer for that reason.
And for a small business owner, that's a great point, because you see a lot of small business owners who, whether you're a bakery or whether you're a plumber or whatever the industry is, and you get a little bit of success, and you have another bakery or another plumber company say, hey, I want to be as successful as you. What do I need to do to be successful? And you have the choice to make. Do I hold everything close to the vest, or do I share what is successful? And I think what I've seen in the long run is, if you share as much as you can without giving away the secret sauce, the thing that really connects it, right? The more that you give to someone, it's going to yield you so much more down the road. And
Absolutely.
And so for me, it's like I was always oversharing what I could do, and sometimes it got me in trouble. How you can make more money, or how you can do different things, or how do you get a contest and win the contest? Because salespeople are always driven. It's like Pavlov's dog. You get a sale, they ring a bell, that congratulations, and you want the bell to ring for you as many times so you can get those accolades. Right. And so competition can be really good, but the healthy competition is, how do you work together? And so that your company evolved, like we said before, from the phone book company to digital, and now they went from RH Donnelly to Dex Media to now Thryv. Right. So tell us a little bit about how the company evolved from Dex Media to Thryv.
Well, so Dex Media, so it went from RH Donnelly, mainly print, phone book, the good old phone book days, to Dex Media, more of a digital company, to Thryv, which is now technically called a SaaS company, software as a service. So our software is there to help our clients have a better experience with their customers.
Okay.
So end to end, meaning when they're first starting out, searching for a business, and then the communication you have, and then the experience that they have after you've done business with someone. So that's kind of where we're at now, helping the experience from your customers and how they experience doing business with you. Yeah. From the beginning to the end.
So when I left Dex Media, it was the phone book company, it was the internet company, and that's what they predominantly do. And they were making that transition over to the software side. Yeah. And what was interesting is that you kind of have a choice to make in business. Is that you can learn, you can adapt, or you can die. And I think the foresight for Thryv was, we knew that for us, the writing was for them at that time. The writing was on the wall that phone books could only take us so far in 50 years. Right. Internet can only take us so far in 20 years. And with everything rapidly evolving, you need to have something that can be sticky. Mm-hmm. And so Thryv is the stickiness, is the glue that kind of holds the business together, which is, yes, they can build a website for you. Yes, they can do email marketing. They can do customer relationship management software, right? Mm-hmm. You can do, I believe, appointment setting, all that type of stuff, which is cool because it's the all-in-one integration. It's like the Walmart version of digital sales or digital media, because I want the one-stop shop. Mm-hmm. And some people really like the one-stop shop, is that I can talk to one person, I can talk to you, and you can handle everything for me, versus I have to piecemeal different things. Right. You lose and might sacrifice some customization, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's the all-in-one cookie cutter format. So if you like to be customized, that's when you go to a company like Prime Media, because we can customize everything for you. But what's great is that it's the all-in-one tool. It's the path of least resistance, which is what most small business owners are in business for, is to do what they love to do and not necessarily be the path of least resistance. They're not necessarily, I'm sorry, I said that wrong.
Well, I got what you meant.
Yeah, but it's like, if they want to be the one that they want to handle what they do, and they want you to handle the rest. And so what's interesting is that when I left the company, people were like, okay, how do I start my own company? Do I bash the competition? Do I do whatever? And I can't say that I've never done that. That would
you?
Be no.
You would never bash.
No. But what I can say was I appreciated everything I learned from that company. and I adopted what I think would be the best practices for mine. And so when I naturally left, they were like, well, what's the difference? And you probably get this too. Like, what's the difference between your company and my company? So they naturally want to put you in as competitors, right? And what are your thoughts on competition?
I feel like every company has its strengths, and I'm the first one I'm very big on knowing my competition and knowing their strengths and even recommending my competition at times. So there's definitely times where I tell my clients, like, yes, is this what you're looking for? Well, I strongly recommend them because eventually they're going to appreciate that. Whether they stayed with me for a piece of their advertising or their software, or they completely went in that direction, and then I got a referral 2 months later by him because they said, hey, this other company is looking for exactly what you do, and I appreciate you telling me to come to this company because I needed this, and I'm in a better place because of it.
I mean, one of the things that I've always kind of touted is I don't feel as anyone as competition. I feel like if I'm looking at someone as competition, if I'm looking at you as competition, it's me against you. So I win, you lose. I never want you to feel like a loser. So how do I collaborate more? And so one of the things that I've done in my business is I figure out, okay, who would be kind of perceived in the marketplace as my competition, and how do I call them? How do I contact? How do I communicate with them? Say, all right, we might have some things that might be competitive, but what are the things that you really excel at, and how can I promote you and champion you in the business? And then how can you champion me so we can work together to promote each other, because rising tides raises all ships.
Absolutely.
But one of the things I think that people see is they want to hear the juicy gossip. They want to hear what's the negative about that company, right? And everyone wants to go dark because they feel like that's it kind of gets the inner secret of who they are. And I think more times than not, if I bash a competitor, it kind of says something negative about me more than it would ever say about that competitor. And so I learned, because I learned that early on in my business career of starting Prime Media was, that felt really good to say what I wanted to say and nail them. And got them. And that was one punch.
Yeah.
But just being silent, that could be something that they win in the long run, because it could be negative. So for 4 years now, I've never said anything bad about any single person in any other company, because I know that me going into that negativity about, if I was a plumber, if I was a heating contractor, if I say, Bill's Plumbing sucks, why would you ever go with Bill's Plumbing? That would hurt me in the long run more than anything in the world. Yeah. So as a small business owner, be careful on how you approach the question of, well, what's the difference between you and this guy?
And I think when you go down that route, even being a small business owner, if you go down the route is if you're going to start bashing your competition, or as a salesman, you're going to the only way that you're going to sell is by bashing the competition, you're going to dig yourself down a tunnel to where that's all you talk about, and you're negative on every person that you talk to.
Right.
And everything you do. And then as soon as you start being negative, I think it's like a snowball effect. And then every time you talk to someone, that's all you talk about. Oh, this is so bad. Oh, don't go to that person. That person's bad. Oh, instead of talking about how are you going to benefit me?
Yeah.
Like, Alex, how are you going to benefit? The whole conversation that you talked to me about was bashing all these other companies. Right. But you never said how you're going to help me.
Exactly.
And that's because if you start going down that route, I feel like that's all you do, and that's how you're going to be. Yeah. So I think if you just kind of just steer away from that, you get to tell your customers as a small business owner what makes you just so good. And that's what they want to hear. Like, how are you going to help me? My furnace is broken. I don't want to hear about XYZ company fixes it and they never care about you. I want to know, what are you going to do to help me fix my furnace, and why am I going to choose you, and why am I paying you, and how are you going to help me? I don't want to hear about the negatives of other companies.
And don't say customer service. I have to say that. Every business says, well, we have the best customer service. And that's the wrong answer. We want to take care of you. Don't say the words customer service, because customers are prone to hear that and then ignore that. Talk to them about the experience. What's going to feel like when you work with our company, our team. What are you going to have? Everyone wants that Disneyland type of experience and Disney World experience.
And that's what they remember when you're done doing business with them. That's what they remember. Wow, that was so easy. Like, I called him, he came out, he did this, it was paid, and it was like done. Right. It's like, wow.
And so one of the things that I've tried to do is like I said earlier, was, how can I champion Thryv, and more importantly, not necessarily the company, but the person that I work with, I've known for 15 years, that even though I've left that company, how can I promote that person or that individual, and how can they promote me back? So we may be in the same space, but we don't have to be cutthroat against each other. Right. And I think too many business owners think it's very selective. If it's me, it's A or B. It's black and white. And if you kind of put together more of the how do we work together type of scenario, people are going to see that a little bit more. But tell me a little bit about how you guys have gone into the all-in-one service and how that was growing pains wise of getting started and trying to you had a huge customer base. Dex or Thryv had over, I think, 100,000, 500,000 customers,
500,000,
right?
Yeah.
500,000 customers. And so how do you go from the digital company or the phone book company to now the SaaS company or the sales all-in-one solution? How do you integrate that with the clients who know you as the phone book company?
Right. Obviously, that is a struggle, but we found a need, and we tried to fill that need. And what we seen a lot was these big corporations, right, that have this whole marketing group, this whole $1 million budget to build a software.
Yeah.
And what we did is we tried to design a software to where it could compete with those bigger guys.
Right.
Right. So those bigger guys come in, and so your furnace is broken, you could go online, you could book an appointment, have the guy come out, do your furnace, they'll send you a virtual estimate, you look at the estimate, you could approve it online. It's all about the experience, right? Mm-hmm. You approve it online, they come out, they fix it, they'll send you a digital invoice, boom, you pay it online, boom, they'll send you an email, leave us a review type of thing.
Streamline everything.
Streamline it. Very, very nice, simple, and that's how those bigger guys gain that market share.
Right.
So we had to find a software that could help these small to medium-sized businesses compete with the bigger guys.
Right.
Because they're like, these bigger guys got all of that. Well, you could have it too.
Right. You think of let's think of like Domino's Pizza, for example, right?
Perfect example.
Is that you can literally text Domino's an icon of a pizza and have it delivered to your house, and it already has in storage your favorite selection. What do you like? Typically, what are the toppings that you want on there? That's all saved in their database.
Right.
Right. And for what you guys are able to do is kind of bring that to the small business owner, because Angelo's Pizza cannot compete with the buying power that Domino's Pizza has. The prices are totally different. You're getting two totally different pizzas. But Domino's it's killing all the small business and other pizza companies like that.
Not with better pizza. Not with better, trust me.
Especially in Chicago.
Yeah.
But the idea behind it is that because of marketing and advertising and automation,
they just make it so simple.
Right.
Like the simple mom could order a pizza for the whole family in less than, I think they said, like 15 seconds. They're trying to just cut it down to where, even though the quality of the pizza isn't better, but the average mom is just like running around all day. She'll grab her phone and she'll just order the pizza, same order as they did last week,
right,
in less than 15 seconds, and have it delivered to their house and be done with it and have it taken care of.
So the vision behind it is, how do we take the big box stores on the main street, right?
Right.
And how do you take that automation software that everyone likes? I mean, we all love Amazon, the one click.
I don't know how much I love it.
The same
especially
day
with my wife. That's
true.
It's a little too easy to order something on Amazon.
Why do we get a bulk straws? I don't understand this.
It's just so easy.
We needed them.
Yeah.
Damn it.
In less than 2 clicks, you could have something delivered to you
right
through Amazon.
I mean, that's the thing, is that big corporations are thinking, how do I make things faster, leaner, and smarter for the end user? But
Perfect.
so many small business owners are still thinking about, how do I turn this knob counterclockwise faster, or how do I drive somewhere faster? And you're trying to get like one or two small base hits when these guys are hitting home runs and they're totally outscoring you.
Yeah.
And so as a small business owner, you have to figure out, how can I streamline my solution? And Thryv is one of them, right? Thryv is a potential solution for a small business owner. They have the appointment setting, the lead, the sales and payments are done, the invoicing, the reputation management, the online everything. Like, it's an all-in-one solution. But you have to know what comes with the limitations of being the all-in-one solution versus the thing. And naturally, an all-in-one solution in the aggregate is more affordable than someone that piecemeals everything together. Right? Is that what you're kind of noticing? Is that
right?
It's a monthly payment that's manageable for you guys to give to clients,
Absolutely.
saying, here's what I can get, and I live with what I have, versus if I want to go out and spend working with 15 other different vendors and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about reputation management, because that's something that you guys promote a lot, is making sure that your name, your phone number, and your reputation is solid throughout the internet. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, a lot of businesses have their information just kind of out there. And they say, yeah, I think I'm found there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's right there. Yeah,
I'm
right.
on the Google.
Exactly. And a lot of it falls with your reviews. So a big thing right now is that...
That's a nice hat.
Thanks, Phil. So a lot of businesses are saying, I think my information is out there. I think I have reviews. My reviews, I think, are pretty good. So part of our software helps manage a lot of that. So it pulls all your information that's out there and every other website that might have your information, and pulls it all into one software. So you go keep track of your reviews, who's leaving a review, when they're leaving a review. Are your hours right? Is your address right? Do they have the right link to your website and not your competitor's website?
Yeah.
So I've had times that all of that's incorrect. So we want to manage that reputation that you have online and make sure that we build on it.
So when it comes to the reputation, I think any small business owner needs to focus on one thing with the internet. It's name, address, and phone number. It has to be consistent throughout the internet. If it's not consistent through the internet, you're going to see breakdowns in regards to user experience, and you're going to have breakdowns in regards to Google, which is the main search engine out there. I think that's pretty.
The Google?
The Google machine, and so the Google machine wants you to know the name, address, and phone number that's consistent all over. It's a spider web that crawls all the different websites out there to be found. And if it's not, you're not going to be served up as much as everyone else that's consistent. And so tell me a little bit about the mistakes that small business owners make when it comes to promoting their business online or just promoting their business in general.
Well, depends on obviously the business owner, but if you're definitely not internet savvy, they make a mistake of, I think this is right, I think I could do it on my own, which that could cost big in the long run. One small mistake online, if you didn't post your address correctly or you didn't post your hours somewhere correctly, that could affect. A lot of websites feed off each other. So if your address is wrong on Yelp, maybe Yahoo might be pulling that information and putting it on their website. So now it's wrong there. Then it's wrong somewhere else. Then it's wrong somewhere else. So having that mistake could cost in the long run. On finding their information online.
So the idea behind that is that you want to make sure that your website is up to date with good content. It's easy to be found on search engines. I think you would agree with this, is that people don't know what they don't know, and they choose to ignore what they don't know. Mm-hmm. They don't want to learn about it. They want to focus on their business. Again, they're a small business owner. They want to focus on what they're good at, which is selling insurance, which is like I said, being a baker, being a plumber, being an HVAC company, whatever. They love doing this. That's what they went into business for. They didn't go into business for bookkeeping. They didn't go into business for legal stuff. They didn't get into business for the marketing and advertising. Some people love that stuff, those little aspects of it. But the problem is they feel like, if I love it, everyone loves it. Or if I do it, this is the way it should be done. And what was interesting is,
Or if I did it for 15 plus years, I believe it should be done like this ongoing.
correct. People have an aversion to change.
Right.
And so what's interesting is that we are all in a digital world that is changing rapidly. It wasn't 3 years ago when Amazon had Prime. I think it's only 3 or 4 years old, Amazon Prime. And so the idea behind that, and I don't quote me on that, I'm guessing.
You're fact checker.
Yeah.
Fact checking. People are fact checking right now.
It was in 2009, and it was in December. It was a cold day. It was 35 degrees. But the idea behind it was, the internet changes so rapidly, and things evolve so quickly that small business owners can't keep up. And so that's why it's important to work with someone who, whether it's Prime Media, whether it's Thryv, or whoever is out there for you, to say, what is the thing that's going? What is what is the thing that is going to be the thing that gets me to the next level? And so many business owners are stuck on there.
Even websites, obviously.
Yeah.
Websites came a long way in the last 2 years, let alone the last 5 years. I still remember a time where I had clients tell me, I don't need a mobile site. Like, what are you talking about? People are going to go to my website on their phone? That's not even possible.
How do I get from the rotary to the screen? I don't get
like,
that.
there's no way that I would ever need a mobile website. To where now we're even moving past mobile into voice.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's forever changing.
And so many business owners, they want to stop. And they don't look at what I call the true measure of a business, which is called the CPLL, cost per legitimate lead. And so they just look at their call volumes, they look at the tracking, and some companies are able to promote that. I know Thryv does that as well. If you're doing a phone book ad, or you're doing a digital campaign, or you're doing digital or type of email campaign, you can get all these statistics. And everyone wants to show you how many clicks you had and how many impressions you had. And as a business owner, as a marketing guy, that's important, but it's not the telltale sign that something's working. What I care about is the cost per legitimate lead. You back out how many were duplicates, how many were 800 sales calls, how many were under what I consider a 15-second phone call. Out those different leads out there and really see what your lead source is working. And as a small business owner, you have to understand that sometimes older programs still work better than the newer software, because everyone's going to the newer software program or going to the new thing, or I like to call the new, and they ignore everything else. And that's what happened with the phone books, right? Is that everyone's done with the phone books. I haven't seen a phone book in 40 years, all that type of stuff. I haven't touched it. I go to the internet for everything. I go to Google for everything. Well, what if I told you that was a mistake? Because I don't work for your company, but I track a shit ton of your company's advertisements.
Say that in the show.
I have total reign. It's a PG-13 show. I can say the F word once. So we track a lot of your placements, and the phone book is a lower cost per lead now because not as many advertisers, which has reduced the price of the phone book ad. And when you actually look at the cost per legitimate lead, the cost per lead is a lot better than even going on Google at sometimes. Because a roofer, for example, to do a click for roofing repairs or roofing contractor in the city of Chicago is like $45 to $50 per click, right? A roofing ad in the phone book may not get a ton of calls, right? But the cost per that lead is way cheaper than what a Google lead. Because if you think about, was it 8 to 10 clicks may equal a phone call on average for a Google click to call. So you're spending $400 to $500 for that lead, right? Versus 20, 30, 40 bucks a call for on the phone book side. So you have to understand as a business owner what vehicle is getting me the best cost per lead, and don't just think because I do something that everyone should do it. Sometimes the traditional ways still work pretty well.
Yeah, depends a lot of the tracking, and I'm glad that you really push that, especially with your customers too. I'm pretty sure it came from our good old R.H. Donnelly that he brought it from.
Yeah.
Because we always believed in tracking too from the start. You know,
Right.
there's a lot of marketing firms and people out there that just kind of, this is what you're supposed to do and don't worry about it. This
We
is
got
what
you there,
do.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
So it's important to make sure things are working.
So some of these small business owners are the salesperson in their business, right? They don't have the sales team like a Thryv has or Prime Media has. They don't have those people that go out there and knock on doors, try to kiss babies and shake hands and all that type of stuff, especially during the Rona years. They are doing it all themselves. So what would you say is the biggest mistake that small business owners make when they are trying to drum up new business for themselves?
What mistakes do they make? By being a little bit pushy and versus organically drawing up new business. Now's the day where there's so much information out there for people to just go out and look for on their own that they don't need it pushed upon them. So just having your information out there and easily accessible for people to find you when they need you, instead of pushing your information at a time that they don't need you.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, I'm using the furnace a lot because I actually got my furnace replaced recently. But instead of going out and saying, "Hey, does your furnace need to replace? Does your furnace need replaced now? Let me check it." If you're a small HVAC company, just being able to be found when my furnace breaks, and either I go online or I go to some Facebook, who knows, whatever the case is, and I easily find your information and I'm happy with what I find, whether it be their website's very nice or they have very good reviews or their information is exactly what I'm looking for. That's a good way to make sure that you're going to profit on new sales.
I think small business owners also make the mistake, and you're kind of alluding to that a little bit, is they go for the kill right away. They want the sale because I'm doing this. I'm actively going out. We call active networking or active marketing is I'm trading my time to hopefully get something. And if I don't get something, it's a miserable failure and I feel like a piece of crap. So if I'm going to go out to a BNI, if I'm going to go out to a chamber event, if I'm going to go out to a Prime Power Partners or whatever it ends up being, event out there, I want to make sure that I'm getting something for my return on investment for my time. And more often than not, that's a failure mentality. Is I've learned that in my business, I would rather not hand you a business card at all. I think that's more powerful to get to know who that is. And then I'll do my research to say, hey, that was a good conversation with you. I'd like to talk to you, or I'd like to send an email. I forgot to get your business card. But I felt it was important that I reached out to you. So I wanted to get your information. When can we have a cup of coffee? That right there shows interest in that person versus if I go to networking events or scrambles or whatever, and I come home with a stack of business cards, right? And I just throw them into my CRM or I do whatever, you're spraying and praying. And that almost never works. How many times do you have a stack of business cards and they literally just kind of pile up and up and up? And I'm like, well, how much business you got? Nothing.
Yeah. So
Prime started in 2005. Maybe. I don't know. 2015, bro. So what I wanted to... Oh, Amazon Prime. That's what you're saying. Amazon Prime. Thanks, fact checker Phil.
2005?
2005. I was a little off.
Yeah, by a few years.
Listen, I'm not right 100%.
Thanks, Phil. At least we got Phil out there.
Absolutely. Prime.
Checking on everything we say.
And financial services. So, so what I was saying is you want to try and play coy when it comes to the stuff. Is I want to learn more about you. So when I go to a networking event, when I go to a BNI or I go to a Prime Power Partners event, I don't pass out my business cards. I shake their hands. I get to know them. I make a mental note of who they are, or maybe I write it down on a scrap of paper when they're done with the conversation. Say, all right, well, I talked to Nadil, and he's with Thryv. All right, so I'm going to go Google Nadil Thryv and try and send you an email without your business card. And you'd be like, holy hell, did I give that guy a card? How did he reach out with me? So now I feel a little bit more like I've engaged you more than just, hey, that was a great event we were at, wasn't it? What are your thoughts? Hey, let's see how we can work together. Because I think you get hundreds of those, just like I do, every time you go networking. And so you have to figure out what's going to set you apart. And so that's kind of what I would say to somebody is that you don't bash your competition. You have to figure out ways to set yourself apart in regards to how am I different, whether it's your attitude, whether it's your brashness, whether you're overly nice or supportive. I mean, there's different ways. We all have our own different niches of how we kind of attract people, or in some people's cases, how you detract people, and how do you analyze who you are as a person and trying to build from that. So I guess the next question would be like, how are you handling your going out there with networking and building and shaking hands and kissing babies, door knocking, all the things that you have been trained to do for 15 years now? How is that affected during the Rona?
Well, obviously it's harder to go out there and shake hands and especially kiss babies. Might be a little
Not to mention the lawsuits.
Yeah.
You have to check your temperature. I can kiss your baby.
Yeah. Well, that's why I am part of a BNI chapter too, and a big part of BNI, it's called Givers Gain, which means the more you give out there, the more you're going to see in return. Right. So even though I'm not out there face to face and meeting with people, I still have my network of team of people that are my partners and trust me and know what I do and feel good about referring me business during these times that they know they're in good hands. You know, if they refer that. So I still have that group of people out there that or a networking group that could help with a lot of that. And also a CRM is important, even for the small business owners out there that aren't able to go the same type of thing. If they have a strong CRM, they could reach out to their current clients, their current customers, and say, hey, I know, fall's coming about, do you need your lawn raked, or do you need your furnace checked, or do you need kind of just reaching out to their own network of customers instead of looking to say, I need new customers. How am I going to get new customers during this pandemic? Being able to reach out to your current customers and say, is there additional service I could do for you? Is there something else I could help right now? My hours have changed, or this is how we're doing business. I know I can't come into your business or come into your house, but I'm not wearing gloves, or I have a mask, or whatever the case is that you're doing differently, and let them know that so they feel a little bit more comfortable to do business with you.
So how does someone who is a small business owner that's never really had a CRM system, doesn't really know what one is, can you kind of explain what that is and how they would go about acquiring something like that?
Yeah. So what a CRM is, a customer relationship management tool. So I like to call it is a digital Rolodex. So everybody knows most people know about what a Rolodex is. The younger guy, what? Rolodex?
What you talking about, Willis?
But it's a digital Rolodex. So basically, it's all of your customers in a digital form. So if you need to reach out to someone very easily, you have all their information kind of stored in a file, and you're able to keep track of a lot of their information onto that.
So how does someone go about starting one?
Contacting Nadil. Right.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's a great opportunity, is that you can contact Nadil at Thryv at nadiljeka.com at 773-858-2029. And he's someone in the Chicagoland area. Now, you're territory-based. You're in Chicagoland, right?
Right.
And so you if you were looking for a CRM system, that's a great opportunity where you can learn about how to build your army of databases to say, all right, hey, here's a promotion that we're running. Right. Here's something that we're trying to do as a company. So the idea behind a CRM is to basically build your Disneyland experience beyond the point of purchase.
Exactly.
And so most small business owners are transactionally motivated. It's I'm done, I get paid, we're done. Next time you need something, you can call, you can pay, and then we're done again. Well, that's fundamentally what we're seeing. The big box areas, or the big nationwide companies, the franchises out there that have millions of dollars to advertise that we talked about earlier, they are doing way beyond that. It's the email after the sale. How are things going? Some people do that, some people don't. It's the hey, here's what's going on in our company type promotion, or type
Hey,
announcement.
Haven't heard from you in a
Haven't
while.
heard from you for a while. Hope everything's okay. My wife, if she goes 5 days without buying something on Amazon, are you still alive?
Yeah,
You know, the idea behind the automation of software is what fundamentally starts with the CRM. So when I say building your Disneyland experience, it's a must-have. You have to be able to say, okay, Jim and Judy Smith bought a furnace with us back in 2017. We haven't talked to them for 2 years. Let's see if Jim and Judy Smith are still at the location. Let's send them something so we can first make sure that that's working. Once we communicate with the fact that they've done it and they are still there, how do we promote ourselves to them continuously? And how do we get that going? Without trying to overtly sell them, how do we keep our name in the conversation?
Yeah.
And so that's what the big box places are doing, is that they're always keeping their name in the conversation, whether it's the millions of dollars that they spend on TV advertising or radio advertising or billboard advertising, or fundamentally funneling it down into just the simple email or just the simple text. Because how many people get texts from all the different companies nowadays?
Chipotle.
Saying,
I always get my Chipotle text.
You get your Chipotle text. You get my wife gets the different clothing store texts, things like that about different sales and promotions. And if you're not doing that, if you're not promoting yourself after the point of purchase, somebody else is going to do that, and they're going to steal that potential customer or repeat customer from you, because they're providing the Disneyland experience, which is what every business should be striving to do.
Right.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. One of the things I would want to make sure I mention is that Nadil is someone who, like I said, works in the Chicagoland area. Where primarily do you kind of serve your clientele base at?
Most of my clients is in the city and the North Shore.
In the North Shore? Okay.
Right.
Lake County a little bit too, I hear.
Lake County, yeah.
Okay.
Lake County, Northwest suburbs, you know.
Who is the type of person that you would typically want to talk to?
Most of my clients, it's not mainly industry based. I think it's just more of the clients that just need help with digital.
Okay.
They just don't understand it. What is the Facebook stuff?
Right.
What am I supposed to be saying? Or, how could I improve my presence? Or, I want to start taking payments electronically, or I want to send out electronic invoices or estimates.
I want to get to the 21st century, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cool thing is that, as we are competing companies, right, we do offer a lot of the same things, right? I try and find things that, exactly, I bruise like a peach, bro. I try and find things that I can refer over to you that you guys really specialize in, which is the SaaS software program. And you try and say, all right, here's what we don't offer that I can send over to Alex. Mm-hmm. And so it's a way, like we said before, championing each other and figuring out how you can work together, even though you're deemed competitors. Right. And
your clients appreciate that.
Yeah.
All day. And which is another benefit. Again, shout out to BNI, BNI member. But a lot of my customers may say, you're helping me with all of this, but do you guys do payroll too? Could you help me? Well, I don't, but I have someone that does. Right. In my BNI group, and I'm able to refer them, and that customer appreciates that. Like, right. Wow, Nadil is able, like, anything I need.
People.
Right.
He's my Rolodex.
Exactly.
And that's the other thing, is that you want to become, for a lot of your customers, the perfect customer is the one that says, I need to go to him to ask his advice for something. I don't know what it is. I have an idea of what I want, but I know that this person at least knows enough people where I can get some sort of answer. Mm-hmm. And so that's why networking groups are huge too, is because your knowledge can only go so far. And we created Prime Power Partners, our version of like a BNI or different networking groups, where you can kind of build that Rolodex in your mind of, right. I have a payroll guy, who do I need to go to? I have this. And then, as you were saying before, their giver's gain model of, if I can give the payroll person enough business, or the bookkeeping company or the plumber or whoever it is, enough business, eventually they're going to appreciate that when their ears perk up of saying, hey, I need someone to build a website for us, or optimize it for Google, which would be us, or a SAS software, automation software where I can do appointment calendars or payment processing. Like, that's where I go to a Thryv. So that's kind of the idea is small business owners need to get off their own frickin' island and worry about, and too many of us are worried about our own thing and everything in our own world. If you can get off your island and say, how can I help another business owner? I promise you, you are going to yield so much of a return on all the different people that you know who trust you to be that go-to Rolodex person that now is going to be the one that says, okay, I need to now use this person. I need to now use this person. I'm going to continue.
And it's okay not to know something. Like, I'm the first one all the time to admit if I don't know something, I just don't know. It's
I have a hard time with
field. Oh, man.
I don't know if you know that about me. I have a hard time admitting I don't know something.
So it's okay if you don't. There's other people that do, and it's okay to have help, and it's okay to save time in your day. Because I know a lot of small business owners, that's one of the first things that they always tell me is, I just don't have time. I just don't have time. There's not enough time in the day. That's because you're just allocating too much onto your plate. Take some of that off, allocate it to someone else, and you focus on what you know how to do best.
If you don't, I don't know a single person that has more than 24 hours in a day. Haven't found that person yet. I haven't found that person yet.
Sure?
I haven't found that person yet. And so what I would probably say is if you allot, let's say 8 hours to sleep, so you have 16 hours left in the day, and you have family time, if you have a family, that you probably do at least, let's say 5 hours of that day. So now you bring it down to 11 hours. You have an 11-hour work day, right? How are you best focusing that 11 hours in your day? And I think more often than not, people try and take on too many things. Because I need to know everything, or I don't want to admit I don't know something.
I'm pretty sure I could have fixed that furnace. Like, if I YouTubed and I searched and I tried, and it may have worked for another year. It may have not blown something up.
I couldn't do that.
But you know what?
I know my limitations.
I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to spend the time, and maybe I could have got it working. Call the professional. Let them come in here, do it, pay them, done. And I move on with my
because you figure out, let's say it took you 3 hours and you finally gave up on it. Well, that's 3 hours that you could have allocated back into your business, or that's 3 hours that you could have allocated to something to promote you and to grow your business. And too many of us take on so much on our plate where it shackles you from actually trying to grow the business because you're still trying to control the business, if that makes sense.
Well, rule of thumb, you got to think, especially as a small business owner, you're worth about $100 an hour. So if you think of, tackling something, you think of paying $100 per hour of you tackling that thing. Mm-hmm. So a lot of small business owners don't put a value on their hourly, and if they start valuing your time. Yeah. There you go. Valuating their value on their time, they'd understand a little bit better.
So, like, let's say you went to your example, your furnace, right? And I own a small business, and I say I want to. I don't have time to hire someone to do this. I'd rather do that. And let's say it took you 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
Imagine just lighting on fire $300 bills, and you said, okay, I'm trading this $300 for a $189 repair that probably could have cost me. So.
And done right.
Versus,
and I have to work
because who knows if this 3 hours turned into like success, or it's like, crap, I got to call him anyways. So now you add that $189, you're at almost $500 of time and money that you just wasted because your pride and ego wouldn't let you.
I can fix it myself.
Right, your pride and ego wouldn't let you say, okay, I'm just going to have someone and allocate some other person's time for my money to make it so I show up and I make sure I promote myself and I can do what I do best, which is maybe working on a car or maybe working on a whatever it is, a bakery or whatever. Right. So you have to make sure that you're trading your time appropriately for money and acknowledge the fact that if you really feel like you're going to do it yourself, you understand you are literally burning $100 bills every single hour you decide to let someone to try and fix it yourself when you know that 3 hours could have been used for something better.
Absolutely. Especially if you're really good at something.
Yeah.
If you allocate that time to doing what you're really good at versus something that I'm kind of seeing on YouTube or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
I'm gonna wing it. Yeah.
So I mean, we see that with websites all the time, right? Is that in your industry and my industry, we all see the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Is that the business
I'll
owner
build
says,
my own site.
I built my own site.
I've seen it
I
somewhere.
did it on Google Builder. Oh, really? Did you? Fantastic. Oh. Or I got a Wix one. Wow,
Yeah.
do you realize?
And they end up spending. I spoke to them the other day that ended up spending like 15, 20 hours trying to build their own.
Yeah.
Which they eventually kind of gave up. But I could just say that whole time that you could have just got it done for so much cheaper and so much better.
Well, I mean, I know one of the things that we've done is I can say to both of our points, I have a gutter repair company who has totally automated the business, right? They did exactly what you said, where they started with the marketing first. How do I make sure I promote myself first and build around that, and then how do I build the business around the marketing? Because you have to realize when you start a small business, you are no longer the plumber. You are no longer the car guy, because eventually you're trying to build your business where you're not the plumber or the car guy, right? So you have to start as I'm a marketing company that uses and makes money by repairing cars or by doing the plumbing work. And so you have to think first marketing. And that's one of the gutter cleaning company is blowing up all over Chicagoland for doing all that type of stuff. You, for example, work with a garage, commercial door and board up company, right? And that was the same thing that you talked about. And we talked about that together because, again, we are collaborators in regards to conversation of how we can rise everyone's tide.
Right.
And that was one of the things that we talked about is how do you grow the marketing aspect of it first to then have the business support it. Too many people try and grow the business first and have no marketing around it, which is always the slowest way of growing. Because people have to know who you are to do business. If you're too focused on doing your business and not telling people who you are not going to grow your business.
Oh, everybody knows me, though.
Everybody
knows me.
I got a sign on the highway, and it's amazing how many people see that sign. Oh, how's their business going? Well, we're having the Rona. But can you tell me a little bit about how you've really been growing that board up and commercial door company?
Yeah, it was a brand new company. So he came here from Atlanta actually and decided to open a business here. But he needed obviously he had no referrals. He had started straight from scratch.
Yeah, he just moved here.
Yeah. So we built his reputation online, both with a good website, being able to be found wherever someone might be searching, and then a lot with the automation with the software. So he was a one-man show, so he had to do the estimates, he had to do the invoicing, he had to collect the payments. So with our software, he's able to do that very easily.
And what's nice about this is that with the pandemic, right? There's a ton of board up and ton of door companies that are in Chicago, right? I mean, there's a lot of them. And your business that you were working with thrived during the entire, no pun intended, was doing really well during the pandemic and was really growing when some of these other companies probably were sitting on their thumbs and waiting for business to come because they don't think marketing first. You have, as a business owner, it's marketing first, then the business. Because you don't get any business unless you market first. They have to know who you are.
And client experience.
And then after you get the client, what is the experience around the client?
Yeah, even when doing business with you, you got to keep in mind, whatever business you're in, that client may not say it to your face or say it at the time, but they're remembering every aspect of what they went through, whether it's scheduling the appointment with you, what time you showed up, how'd you come when you came, did you have a shirt on with your name on it, did you have a hat on? And again, they may not tell you like, oh, he just kind of walked in with, I didn't even know who he was. They're not going to say that to your face, but they're going to remember that experience after you're gone and say, man, they just kind of showed up with like some bummy clothes, or they showed up 2 hours late, or they didn't even remind me of their appointment, and they just kind of just showed up. A lot of this plays into a factor of, one, that person referring you to somebody else, and two, that person coming back to you, because they're gonna say, oh man, that company only accepted cash. I couldn't even pay my credit card. They may not complain at the time, and say, oh yeah, sure, I'll get cash at the ATM, I'll drive to the bank and come back. But believe it or not, they may not use you again, because they're like, oh, I don't have cash on me. I got to go to the bank, and then the bank's closed right now, and then got to get cash. And you may think, yeah, people don't mind that I only take cash. Nobody ever complained.
Yeah, we have no idea that you're not, skirting the government by not paying taxes, by only accepting cash. I've never thought that before in my life. Yeah. When it comes to a customer that says or a business that says we only accept cash.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, I mean, the idea behind this, though, is that exactly what you just said is what the big companies are doing, is that they're automating everything. And so if your small business isn't automating, whether it's through Thryv, whether it's through Prime Media, whatever it is, whoever it is, we want to make sure that you understand that your business needs to grow and market first. If you don't have the plan of marketing, you do not have a long-term plan of success. So I wanted to thank Nadil for joining us again. He works for Thryv. You can visit at nadiljeka.com. It's NADILGJEKA.com. And his phone number is 773-858-2029. And then I'm obviously Alex Kolkoski with Prime Media Consulting and the Total BS Show. Reach us at primemediaconsulting.com or 866-813-8650. So thank you very much, Nadil. I appreciate your time. It's always funny because when I say we have an hour-long show, they're like, well, what the hell are we going to talk about for an hour? I'm like, trust me, it goes quick.
I think we probably went for 2.
Yeah.
Maybe I got to come on next week.
Absolutely.
Let them know in the comments. Like, we want them back.
That's right. Absolutely. So thank you so much. Next week, we're going to have another incredible business. We're going to talk about their journey, their successes, what was something that they learned along the way of how to be a successful business. And we'll dive into even more BS. So thank you so much. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys.